Swing on over here. Hello, hello. My name is Christian Golick. I'm a video content producer, and in today's live stream, I am kind of giving you all a sneak peek, maybe a peek behind the curtain, rather, of my process, my thought process the day before a commercial shoot. So I have a big commercial shoot tomorrow for a roofing company, and we're creating two 90-second to 2-minute commercials, videos more so. We're creating two commercials for the company, one that will live on their homepage of their website, and another that they're going to use as a info guide when giving free estimates during consultations. So the two videos have two distinct purposes, and we're shooting one of 2 days tomorrow. So I'm prepping all of my gear and kind of mentally getting myself in the zone, just reviewing all the material and making sure that tomorrow will go as smoothly as possible. So I wanted to bring all of you along, my process, my thoughts, just what I do. And so I actually have a lot of my gear ready, but I wanted to kind of break it down. I thought that would be fun. So right here I have my main camera, which looks, honestly, it looks a little intimidating. It's a bit of a monster, to be honest. A monster Frankenstein of parts. But this is my main camera, and I absolutely love it. So, to kind of break this down a little bit, we have the camera itself, which is kind of buried in the middle of all this stuff. But we have the camera itself, the Sony a7 III, which is a phenomenal 4K camera. I have a very nice versatile lens on it, which is the zoom lens, a 24-70. So this is a great wide to medium close-ish lens. And for the shoot that we're doing tomorrow, I think it's really going to be the perfect lens that I'll be able to move around with, be versatile with, because we have kind of free reign tomorrow in terms of getting what we need. So it's not like I have to stay far back and zoom in. I can really get up close to the action for most of it. So this will be a great lens. It's really sharp, really high quality, very clean. And that's actually something that is not really talked about, to be honest. I mean, it's within the videography, filmmaking community, but it's not, nor should it be, something for, a client to say, hey, what kind of lenses do you use? Like, that's not really a question. This lens gives a very clean look. There are other lenses that have not so clean looks. Now, does clean always mean good? Absolutely not. In fact, I actually have a lens that I do enjoy, and it's, this little guy. This is an old film lens. It's an old Zeiss 50mm lens back from the 70s. This is not a clean lens. This is, I wouldn't say full of imperfections, but it has a lot of aesthetically pleasing imperfections. And it gives a beautiful look, in my opinion. And it's a neat lens. This lens is not for tomorrow's job. It's just not. I need to be versatile, and we're going for a very clean and crisp, polished look. To an extent. So that's why I chose my 24-70 2.8 G Master, which is Sony's kind of top of the line flagship lens with the Sony a7 III. So that's just the camera and the lens. We haven't even gotten into all this other stuff. So on top of the camera, I have this screen here, this monitor, which is really, really helpful because I don't know if you can even see it. There's this tiny little screen on the back of the camera, which is good. It gets the job done sometimes, but it's small, sometimes hard to see. It gets very crowded with all the displays and information that I need to see, which is still good to have, but it's too small. Having a monitor that's bigger, brighter, and it offers more tools that allow me to shoot with more confidence, to film, to shoot video with more confidence. Very, very helpful. So I have this screen here that is rigged up to the camera. Now you will see there are actually two microphones on here, but I don't use them at the same time. Right here, I have my Rode shotgun microphone, which pretty much you point it in the direction that you want and it picks up audio. And it's absolutely fantastic for picking up ambient sound, for picking up natural sound. So for example, tomorrow I'm going to be shooting with a roofing company. They're going to be busy roofing. So that means prying up shingles and you know, swinging hammers and climbing ladders and really, you know, doing stuff. I want to be able to pick up all of that sound with this microphone. What we will also be doing is I will be filming the owner on screen and he's going to be talking directly to the camera. Well, for that, I want his voice to be really clear and crisp. So for that, I'm actually going to put a little clip-on microphone like I'm wearing right now, a clip-on microphone that will wirelessly connect to here. So when I'm filming him, I get nice clear audio. When I'm filming the roofers working, I get natural sound. So I have two microphone sources on this camera, and I can only use one or the other at a time. So I'll be flipping between the two, but I have both of them on my camera so that I have the flexibility. So swinging to the back of the camera more, I have this little antenna, this little transmitter. What this does, and this is real cool, and I'll kind of talk about this more in a little bit, but what this does is it takes my video signal and wirelessly transmits it to a receiver. And I'll demonstrate that in a little bit, but that's really cool because that gives myself, but more importantly, my client, the flexibility to see what I'm filming and give them the opportunity to participate more in the shoot. So I'll talk about that more in a little bit, but that's this guy right here. And then behind it is actually this pad, essentially. It's a very squishy pad that is attached to the camera, and that I use for essentially hand holding the camera and getting some nice motion. I'll demonstrate in a second. And on the other side, I just have this little wooden handle attached to the camera, which is nice just to get my hands on it. I have big hands, so it's nice to really get a good grip. And what I'm able to do, because it all just comes together, I have both hands on my camera. I got this rubber pad that I press up against my chest. And now I can really shoot nice handheld footage. I can see very clearly. I have a lot of support. I can zoom in, pan, tilt. This offers a lot of flexibility. And it offers a nice aesthetic look. So I'll probably be showing a lot of the footage that I get on social media. I'll show a handful of clips that I get tomorrow, because I'll show you what I mean by aesthetically pleasing handheld versus locked off on a tripod or a slider. And the slider is actually what I'm using right now to just slide my camera. This is a tool that I'm going to be bringing along for the shoot for probably a couple shots. I wouldn't say I'm going to use this a ton, especially with how the shoot is going to go tomorrow. It's not a closed set. So the roofers are actually working on a roof. They're doing a job, and I'm there to film them doing their job and get what I need to get with the owner and whatnot. So we have a lot of time to get the shots we need, but at the same time, I can't stop people from doing their job. So I need to be flexible. I need to be very nimble in quick getting the shot. And that's where being handheld is really nice, and sliders not as practical. But there are a few shots that I really want to dial in, and I really want to make sure that they look nice, crisp, smooth. That's what the slider's for. And actually, like I said, I'm prepping my gear in this live stream. So there's actually one thing I want to do, because I have not cleaned this slider in a long time. And I've been putting my hands all over it, and it's getting like, the oils from my hand. So I'm just gonna give it a little clean with an alcoholic wipe. Gotta just give it a nice oh yeah, I don't know, can we see this? You gotta, yep, that was just one part of one rod. You don't see it often because it's black and the rods are carbon fiber, so it doesn't look like they're dirty, but they do get dirty. And luckily, a little bit of dirt isn't going to kill the slider. It's not going to ruin the smoothness, but after a while it does accumulate, so it's best to just get in the practice of cleaning. And I figured, why not? Give it a nice little clean. So that's done. So now the slider is ready to go, but I want to show you a little bit of what I can do with the slider. So like, as you've seen, I've been just moving it around left and right all of this video, and it travels along these two rails like that. So I can slide left to right. I can kind of like start zoomed out and push in. That's pretty cool. I could combine a little pan and slide, maybe a little tilt, pan and slide. Now we're getting wild. So I can do all that while being on the slider, and that's good. Now, I love this slider. It is incredibly smooth. And that is also a downfall at times. Because it's so smooth, any little touch, any little like movement gets translated to the camera. And if I'm not moving it perfectly linearly, which is almost impossible to do, like it'll be faster, then get slower, then faster, slower. It's hard to move it perfectly because it's so lightweight, because it's so smooth. What I can actually do is make it harder to move, which sounds weird, but you can add a counterweight to the belt drive of this to add inertia, which is cool. And now the slider is harder to move. It takes more effort. I have to, I don't need to make those sound effects. It's not that hard. But it's harder to move. It takes out all those jitters. So now we're really smooth. I can really control my movement. I can do a tilt up. I can do a little pan. This is called a parallax. This is pretty cool. Where I slide from one side to the other, but I keep the lens centered. That's a cool move. So that is really how I like to shoot with my slider, is having this inertia. And it works out pretty well. But I can get even more precise. So I'm going to take this counterweight off. And I'm going to add in a computerized motor to this, which is pretty cool. So I can attach a motor to the belt drive of the slider, hook it up to this little controller here, fire this on, make sure that's unlocked. Sometimes it doesn't, it needs a little bit. There we go. So let me show you this here. Yeah. So I can turn the wheel faster or slower. Real slow. And it will do a very calculated, precise movement. Like that, which is pretty nifty. Now I can also program in a move over a duration of time. This is getting real nerdy, so if you're into this, I appreciate it. And I can even loop it. So all I have to do is program a move, hit go. No hands. Perfect time to take a drink of water. So I can program a move in like this, and it just goes. And it doesn't have to loop. I can only have it do a single pass. For this, I have it looping. But if I want to really, really articulate a move and make sure that it looks precise, I will use the motor to really dial in the shot. So I can do a little pull out shot to like reveal the house with the completed roof. Or something like that. It's pretty fun. Now we'll turn that off. And we'll actually take this off. Just because it's a lot easier to move without the motor attached. So that's the slider in a nutshell. It's a fantastic tool, but it also needs the time to be set up. And I have a couple shots in mind, but it's not a tool that I would use for every single shot because that would be really inefficient with my time, and I just ultimately wouldn't get the shots that I need. So there's a time and a place for each tool, and yeah, it's just planning and knowing when the correct time to use each tool is. So this is the slider. This is handheld. I also have a tripod, which is pretty basic and probably the most boring, but it's consistent, it works. It just stands on the tripod. And tripod shots are good. So that's the hardware, I suppose. The hardware, the tools that I use to get the shots. But one more thing that I want to show is actually showing the shots. So kind of like I said a little bit before with this wireless video transmitter, I'm shooting, I'm all up and close and intimate with my camera, and I'm here and like I'm looking at the screen. Well, that's good. I mean, I need to see my camera, but the client also kind of wants to see what I'm doing, what I'm getting. And on the shoot tomorrow, I'm also working with my producer, who she's in charge of making sure that we get all the shots we need. So she needs to see what I'm getting so she can check it off the list. That is where this wireless video transmitter comes into play. And I'm actually gonna fire up all the equipment. So this here, once it boots up, this is my video signal. There we go. So here's the video signal here. We can you can see it on screen. Yeah, all right. So we have our video. This is my screen. I'm looking at it. I get the shots. Great. Well, now I want my producer and my client to see the shots, but they're not going to be lurking over my shoulder the entire time. I don't want them to lurk over my shoulder the entire time. So I'm setting up a client monitor. So what I'm going to do, let's see if I can bring this in here. What I'm going to do is get another screen that has the receiver, the wireless receiver. Can we see that? Yeah. So we have a receiver with antennas that's receiving the signal from here. So these are connected. And there we go. So now anything that I get, anything that I'm shooting, we see it on this screen. And that's very helpful because especially if I'm like on the roof, my client and my producer are going to be on the ground. They'll be able to see what I'm getting and say, oh, I really like that shot. Let's go in for the close-up. Okay, go in the close-up. How's this look? Good? Okay, good. Now the roofer's working, da 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 da. And, we get the shot. Well, then my producer might go, well, could we do that shot again? I want to see this instead. I want to see a different action. Okay. See, my brain alone, when I'm shooting, I don't think about that. Like, I don't think about the nitty-gritty details of like what's happening on screen. I do to an extent, but my brain power is very much focused on getting a well-composed shot that is lit well and sounds good. I'm very focused on that. And yes, I'm focused, I do care about what's happening on screen, but it's not the only thing that I am able to focus on. So having a producer that is watching this monitor like a hawk and going, okay, that shot looked good. Can we get a different take? Or, that shot's good. Next one. So that's very beneficial to me because we will always be in communication with each other and making sure that we get every shot that we need. It also instills a lot of confidence for the client because, I've never hired another videographer to shoot commercials for me because I shoot my own stuff. But if I could put myself in my client's shoes, video is an investment, especially a professional grade commercial. It's an investment. I want them to feel like they are making their investment worthwhile. And it will be. It absolutely will be by the end product. But if I can help show that and demonstrate that during the shoot so that they get excited and they see the client monitor and they go, oh, yeah. Oh, that shot's cool. Oh, I love that one. Oh, this is great. That's going to just create a lot more positive energy. That's going to inspire new projects, new shots, and it might, in their head go, oh, you know what? That reminds me of this idea. Could we do this too? That's more content that we have to put into the commercial. And it truly helps the whole collaboration process between myself and the client. And that is just, you can't beat the feeling when you're working on set for a whole day and you get a lot of great stuff and the client is even more pumped than you are. Like it's a great energy, it's a great workflow. And as simple as it is of just having an extra screen for them to look at, it's kind of crucial. And unfortunately, I haven't done this a whole lot. So I'm really, I haven't added the wireless monitor to my workflow. I just recently added it. So it's going to be a big difference. I fully anticipate it being a big difference because before I just had clients kind of lurking over my shoulder. It's not the best experience for really anybody. So that is the client monitor, camera, and so, the gear is set. The gear is ready. Now, what else am I doing? Well, I'm looking at my iPad, looking at the Google Doc that we have that's shared, and I just look at all of the goals, all of the ideas that the client has. I write down key shots that like I need to get, that I know just will like make the commercial look. I look at that, I review that, and I run it in my head. I go, okay, how do we get this shot? What time, at what point do we get this shot in the shoot? Because things are happening and I have to really think about the timing. How do I approach, the owner about doing this one shot because it kind of requires this and that? Like, I'm just mentally preparing myself as much as possible. And we do have a tentative schedule that's worked out in here that, we try to go by. Typically schedules are a little flexible, even though we would like them to not be. It's just how it goes, Murphy's Law. So we have a tentative schedule that we are going to try to abide by. So I will review that and do my best to incorporate or to fit all the shots in that time frame. But if we run late, we'll probably run late. And yeah, I mean, this is the boring part that isn't really exciting, but just reviewing these notes, reviewing the doc that has all of the key people, my producer, the client, myself. We are in this shared doc, just putting in ideas, tagging each other, and making sure that we are all on the same page before we arrive on set. And that's pretty much my process for prepping for the shoot. I mean, I had a lot of this already set up before the live stream, just for the live stream demonstration. But this is what I'll be rocking tomorrow. I do plan on shooting some behind the scenes on set to give you a look of what that is like. And yeah, this is day in the life of a commercial videographer. So I see I'm on Instagram and YouTube right now, so it's probably a better view from YouTube. But thank you everyone for joining, looking on Instagram. Thank you everyone for joining on Instagram. Thank you everyone for joining on YouTube. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or YouTube, and check out my website, christiangolic.com. You'll see a lot more information on what it's like to work with me in this, in this space. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on the website as well. It'll go right to my email. So I hope everyone has a great day, and talk to everyone later.